My name is Manu. I'm the guy on the board. Since a young age, I love board riding sports. First windsurfing, then surfing, and stand-up paddle surfing. And nowadays, foiling. I love to be in the water, surrounded by nature. My wife Carine shares that passion with me. Together, we have 2 daughters, Lou the eldest, and Shadé the youngest. When we are not traveling, this is where we live, on the island of Maui, in Hawaii. 17 years ago, Carine and I took over an old water lily farm. We dedicated ourselves to give life back to this place that we now call home. On top of providing a financial income, it gives us a great connection with the earth. The 4 of us travel the world looking for spots, but also because the shortest path to oneself leads around the world. Our film series, The Green Wave, shares that love for our planet. It showcases her at her finest to better present the threats she's under. The Green Wave wishes to highlight the work of those who protect our environment on a daily basis. This time, the Green Wave brings you right here, to the island of Maui. Like many of you, during this strange year, we stayed home. Not so bad, you're probably thinking, considering we live on one of the most beautiful archipelagos of the world. And you're right, in Hawaii, wonder is all around you, all the time. You go from one of the driest parts of the world to one of the most humid within just a few miles. The ocean crashes against a 10,000-foot high mountain, while liquid mountains cohabit with peaceful lagoons. Geological fireworks with rainbows as grand final. Every year, over 2 million tourists would fly to experience these wonders of nature. But this year, this amazing show, thousands of years in the making, unfolded only for the lucky residents of the island. Indeed, as the pandemic hit, the island was deserted by its permanent 60,000 tourists, revealing a Maui we thought we would never get to know. Empty beaches, abandoned tourist attractions and shopping streets, no traffic jams. Once the crowds had vanished, the silence became almost deafening, but conducive to interrogation. Are we really waiting for a return to normal? Or are we ready to build something different? As we reflected on a possible answer, we continued to cultivate our garden with a specific attention. What became clear is this new reality was the certainty that we were not confined to our island, but with her. It might be because slowness reveals things that speed hides, that we started rediscovering our island and seeing her as a symbol of our entire planet. Unique, isolated within the immensity surrounding it, wonderful, but also threatened by climate change. Then, alone with our island, we asked ourselves, how is Maui doing? What environmental challenges are threatening her? One in particular we've been skeptical about is water, wa'i in Hawaiian. A central element of Hawaiian culture, ubiquitous even in its own name, Hawaii. How can one of the most rainy islands in the world have water issues? To answer this question about water, we went directly to the source.
On est reparti. C'est sympa de retrouver un petit peu le goût du voyage, de l'aventure. Ça fait plus d'1 an qu'on n'est pas parti. Et même si là on va pas loin, juste à l'autre bout de l'île, on a l'impression qu'on part loin. Et ça aussi c'est un peu nouveau. Là on a de quoi tenir pendant, je sais pas, 3-4 jours. petit peu de basilic maison. On y va là, on est sur à l'arrière, t'arrives. 1, 2. Ok.
On this mountain, towering 5,788 feet above sea level, a group of die-hard Hawaiians is defending the biggest private natural preserve of the state of Hawaii. Almost 10,000 acres of unique rainforest with strictly regulated access. A watershed, depending on this rainforest, provides water to 2/3 of the island's population. Here is a quick explanation of what a watershed is. A watershed is all of the land that drains into the same location or body of water, like a river, a wetland, or a lake. Think as a watershed as a funnel collecting all the water within a specific area. The water is channeled into soil, groundwater, making its way into larger rivers and eventually the ocean. Everyone in the world lives in a watershed. Our environment, our economy, and our society all depend on a healthy watershed. Protecting water starts by protecting where it falls from the sky.
So why is this mountain gated?
Well, you see all the way down to the valley?
Yeah.
It goes down, and then this goes down all the way to the next valley. This is to keep animals out that might harm the native forest, like pigs or goat or deer. So if you notice, there's what they call this protective undergrowth here, so they cannot dig underneath, yeah? And it's high enough so the deer cannot jump. A lot of these plants in here are native, and we need to protect it so that it's here for the next generation to come, or else we can only read about it in a book.
This refuge is the mountain ranger's hideaway. It rarely opens its door to visitors.
Donc on vient d'arriver à l'instant au refuge, où on devrait passer 2 ou 3 jours.
We're discovering the preservation work that takes place here. It's really more of a calling, mixed with a powerful spiritual dimension.
We'll do our own oli. We'll ask ourselves, and followed by a pule before we go, and asking us guys to really be blessed, safety, asking our kupuna, our ancestors, to show us what we need to learn and that we can be open and receive. Our kupuna have walked these areas before us, so we come with respect. Leo pugugui pa, Leo pugugui gaua no e unai ana mo me ugala. Iga wai helele I mai gala ni mai ho ike mai kana ni kamao ake akua e agule ono I como e malama e pule kako oniva oniva all right.
One never actually sets foot in this forest. To prevent contamination, we travel along a boardwalk that meanders for 6 miles.
What we call limu, or the moss, how it soaks up the water. And it's really like a big sponge. This whole mountain, or this watershed at Pu'ukukui, is like one big sponge on the mountain. And even when it's heavy rain, it just trickles down and eventually absorbs into the ground, and that's how we get our drinking water. And so what we try to do is make sure that all the forest is nice, because if you lose all of the forest and the trees and the shrubs. Then when it rains, it's going to flow all the way to the ocean, and it's going to kill all the reef and kill all the fish. The water is going to be all brown. It's not going to be that nice blue ocean that we love.
But what does preserving a forest really mean?
Oh, okay.
I like to hang out on the underside of the leaves.
So it's pretty much like one by one. Like you find
yeah.
a bad weed, you take it out, pull it out. Same with snails.
Same with snails, same with the mongoose. That's why we set up traps everywhere. Wherever we see them is pretty much what we do.
Because you obviously don't use any product or any chemicals to kill them.
No, everything's by hand.
Everything by hand.
This is strawberry guava. It's a big no-no up here because if we let them go, they'll pretty much wipe out this whole side of the forest.
Il y a une caméra, ça leur permet de monitorer ici tous les passages d'animaux qu'il y a. Si jamais par hasard il y a un cochon qui a réussi à rentrer dans la réserve, comme ça leur permet de savoir exactement.
Okay, so here's one of our pig traps. You can kind of see that pink flag right there.
Yeah.
And how I can find them is I have a GPS on my phone. You can see this ball right there. That's one of the traps. Where we usually put them is on like a main trail or like kind of where there's food sources. And it catches them by like their leg, their arms, or they're like by their neck. A group of pigs in a day can destroy a football field of a forest area.
Yeah,
so that's why they're bad up here. Yeah.
Keep them out.
Like I could look at this tree and then I'm just automatically, I'm splitting up each branch, like just kind of scanning it real quick. But this plant generally looks healthy because the buds, like all the light green is like, okay, this is a really good looking plant. The thing's already flowering.
And is this the same tree that makes those like red flowers?
Yeah, right here. So this red flower.
Oh, and then when it dies, it makes this?
It makes that seed, yeah. They're really small, so in one pod there's over 100 seeds.
No ways.
Those are all ohia seeds.
And do you replant them?
Yeah, so we bring them, collect them, bring them back down to our greenhouse and then plant them in trays, yeah. Collect some of these.
Mais là, ça fait quand même 5 minutes qu'on marche. Et donc, il y a ce grillage là, qui fait, je crois, 2 mètres de haut. Donc, ils ont construit sur toute la superficie des 9000 acres. Et là, on va vraiment voir ce que ça représente, en fait, ce travail. Puisque, quand c'est plat comme ici, j'imagine que ça reste quand même assez facile. Par contre, ce qu'il faut s'imaginer, c'est que ce grillage doit épouser un relief qui, lui, est extrême.
How's you guys' apron? All clipped in? Kelly? Okay. Let's just check our clips, make sure our apron is good before we head on up. This fence looks nice and good. Good job, guys.
Pas dans le même ton que moi quand vous êtes fait picking.
Non.
J'ai l'impression qu'on a déjà...
On est parti les filles?
Oui.
On n'a rien oublié?
Non.
Sandwich? Oui. L'eau? Allez, c'est parti. Let's go. Wow. Voilà, on quitte notre petit refuge, confortable mais un petit peu froid quand même la nuit. Et puis pour ces quelques jours, on a accès à cette forêt magique juste pour nous. On a une chance incroyable, alors on a hâte d'aller voir ces merveilles. Let's go. Discovering a place right next to home is worth any faraway trip. As long as you approach it with a new perspective, pay close attention and listen to the signs.
They're like right above. So we'll walk really slowly.
Donc là aujourd'hui la mission du jour pour les rangers c'est de faire une reconnaissance, un inventaire des oiseaux endémiques. Donc c'est intéressant parce que jusque là on était vraiment concentré sur ce qu'on voyait et un peu moins sur ce qu'on entendait. Et là c'est vrai que on voit une autre dimension un peu de cette forêt. Super.
That's a native apapani.
It's like they're like right above us.
Yeah.
Their voices are so
You can already hear them. They're talking. They say, "Hey, who's that pretty girl in the pink jacket?"
The voices of the forest aren't impenetrable. They can be heard and interpreted by those who listen to its pulse and understand its sign language.
Do you want a boiled egg?
Mahalo, I'm good.
Have you like noticed any like climate changes or anything?
Unfortunately, yes. Last year, from 400, we barely made over 200 inches of rain on the rain gauge. So that means our rain has gotten almost half because of climate change. So the water is captured up here in the Pu'ukukui, and then it goes down, and that reservoir that you saw is the Maui County Mahinahina Water Treatment Plant. And so they treat the water, and then it goes to all of the hotels and houses and residents across the street from Honokohau all the way to Lahaina. All those thousands of people down there get their water from this preserve and from that water treatment plant. So, you know, sometimes we feel alone, but we remember all those people drinking water down there depend on us to do a good job up here. The threats are more intense. Storms are getting more intense, stronger storms, and more frequent. And I hope I never have the conversation with my grandchildren or your grandchildren who don't have drinking water and they ask me, why didn't you do something? I hope we've done something now so that we never have that conversation, but that the conversation will be, thank you. I'm glad you did something.
Will future generations thank us for reversing the trend? Or will they blame us for failing to do so? One shared belief among all those who take action in this cause around the world is that it's too late to be pessimistic.
You are my sunshine. What key what key is that in?
I think it's
Isn't it?
F, C, G7,
Yeah.
C. Chacha?
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. How you make me happy when skies are gray. You never notice how much I love you. Please Oh, the band, we're gonna tour. We're gonna. You take me around the world, okay?
Far in the background, behind Pono, extensive rows of hotels receive thousands of visitors who are completely unaware of the fight for water the men in orange are carrying out daily. Lou, on her side, knows all about it now.
Là, on est à Honolulu Bay. C'est mon endroit préféré pour surfer. Je surfe ici depuis que je suis hyper petite. Et après avoir passé tellement de temps à Pu'ukukui, je donne beaucoup plus de valeur à cet endroit parce que je vois tout l'effort et de temps qu'ils mettent pour préserver cet endroit. Donc là, comme tu peux voir, il y a une rivière et toute l'eau de cette rivière, ça vient de le Water Reserve à Pu'ukukui. Grâce à ça, ça crée ce riff magnifique et cette eau claire.
This bay, so precious to Lou, as well as all of our favorite spots, depend on what the mountain carries down to the sea. Together, they create a unique alchemy, a breeding ground in surf culture that gave birth to all the water sports we practice today. Kitesurf, stand-up paddle, windsurf, surf, and now foiling, in its many forms. So many ways to honor the purifying elements in this church of the open sky. Water and air cleanse the spirit of those who immerse themselves in them, like a constantly renewed baptism. This marine environment is also where hundreds of whale calves are born every winter. Thousands of humpback whales travel around 3,000 miles across the North Pacific Ocean to get here. They come all the way from Alaska to give birth in the peaceful Hawaiian waters, to our greatest amazement.
Là, on est au large de la côte sud de Maui. On va paddler un peu tout le temps ensemble. Là, on emmène les enfants pour paddler un peu. Et cette saison, en ce moment, il y a des baleines partout. Et ce qui est génial, c'est qu'elles sont curieuses et elles viennent nous voir.
En fait, aujourd'hui, j'avais école, mais maman, elle a dit que c'était mieux si je viens avec tout le monde et voir les baleines. Et en fait, papa, il a plongé et la baleine, elle a venu jusqu'à côté de lui. If the ocean cleanses us, regenerates, and recharges us, if it is always there for us, where do we stand in reciprocity? To answer this question, I had to interrupt Shadé. What are you doing, Shadé? Meditating.
Oh, meditation is good.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
What is it?
Do you know what have in common every mile of coastline in the world?
Sure, I know. Sand. To bury people in the sand and to make sandcastles. What about that?
No. Because some places look like this and like that. So what could it be?
Waves. Big, small, for us to catch a barrel. By the way, that was me catching the wave.
Some places are flat year-round. The answer is plastic pollution.
What? Really?
Plastic is everywhere. Small or big, it has washed up on every coast around the world. Believe it or not, every piece of plastic ever created still exists in some form today. And we are expected to make more plastic in the next 5 years than ever before. There is more plastic in the ocean than stars in the Milky Way galaxy. And 70% of the plastic found in the ocean come from fishing material. We are not only eating the fish, but also the net used to catch it. And an average human consumes 74,000 pieces of microplastic each year. There is plastic in your food, Shadé. Now that you know the problem, do you want to be part of the solution?
Yay! I want to help.
Then, let's take action. Il est 7h30 du matin sur le North Shore de Maui. On a été invité à suivre Campbell et sa fondation Love the Sea à faire un nettoyage de côte difficile d'accès sur la côte ouest. Il est en train de faire un briefing. Il y aura 3 bateaux sur l'eau, plusieurs jet skis. On va être déposés sur la côte à nettoyer et on va essayer de ramasser un maximum d'ordures.
Has anybody got any questions? These are the big bags like you see in front of you. So once it's filled with plastic, we bring the neck in like this, we spin the neck, and then use these straps to tie it off nice and tight. You don't want the bag to open up. So with 25 bags, we can pull about 5,000 pounds today. So be very careful with them across your leg or fingers and stuff like that. If there's bags on shore that are full and the area is dangerous, we have this system where we throw this buoy to the people on the shore, and then the jet ski will tow that bag out.
First, he identifies a portion of the coast where large amounts of plastic trash have washed up due to winds and currents. Once the zone is located, he gathers a team of men and women capable of maneuvering in a hostile marine environment.
Viens, 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 viens!
Hey, this is sick! Wait.
Today is a rare occasion where the forecast allows us to reach the part of the coast we're aiming for.
We're going to work this bay, and that bay, and the 2 jet skis are going to be bringing stuff back to this boat.
Vas-y, ouais, let's go inside. On a repéré un filet de pêche là-bas qui a été abandonné en mer et qui a fini dans cette cave. D'ailleurs, ce genre d'endroits, ils sont souvent propices à l'accumulation de déchets plastiques parce que les courants et les vents poussent, et puis après, une fois qu'ils sont à l'intérieur ici, ils ne peuvent pas en sortir. Donc le but, c'est de se faire déposer là, retirer un maximum de déchets et puis passer à la baie suivante.
Donc voilà, il y a déjà... Ouais, super.
Prends-en, mais ils ont plein de sacs là-bas. C'est assez dangereux parce que il y a quand même pas mal de shore break derrière. Donc faut quand même être vigilant. Et là-bas, ils sont en train de récupérer le filet. Il y a énormément de gros rochers qui roulent à l'intérieur de cette cave ici. Donc une partie du filet se retrouve engloutie sous ces rochers super lourds. Et on a beaucoup de mal à les enlever.
Let's just somewhere goes underneath, you know.
Kristen! Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready for a little celebration?
Yay! Ah!
Okay, we need a rope and we need to like somehow hold this bag up and just...
Then you got these other guys just trading there. Okay. So what's the biggest threat to our oceans for you and with the experience that you have with all these coastal cleanups?
Well, I think by far the most volume of trash is coming from the commercial fishing sector. I mean, it's just buoys and floats and nets and line debris. It's really obvious when you get out here into no man's land. I mean, closer to town, closer to tributaries, river mouths and things like that, where we see stuff coming downstream from our community, Obviously, yes, there we see straws and cups and polystyrene containers and stuff like that. Out here, it's just all commercial fishing, really.
There is great joy in the teamwork when we're committing to such a cause. At the end of the day, we feel satisfied for doing our part, because we too love the sea. So what happens to all this trash now? Will it go to landfills at the risk of ending up in our oceans again? No. That's exactly why the work of Love the Sea does not end here.
Est-ce que c'est pas une belle façon de passer son samedi matin? Bon, alors je me suis pas fait que des amis dans la famille, mais je trouve que c'est important d'aller au bout du processus. On a passé plusieurs jours autour de l'île avec Campbell et sa fondation à récolter tous ces débris, tout ce plastique. Donc le but du travail d'aujourd'hui, là, tout le monde s'est réuni pour trier tous les déchets plastiques qu'on a récupérés.
Des fois, c'est pour ça que c'est bien d'être tous ensemble. Là, on a un groupe de copains, des gens qu'on connaît ou qu'on ne connaît pas, mais parce que là, si je suis toute seule et que je regarde ça, franchement, j'ai une envie, c'est de pleurer là. Donc, ça devient assez, des fois, un peu émouvant, quoi, parce que comment je peux essayer de trouver quelque chose à recycler là-dedans, tout est mélangé. Donc, c'est pour ça que c'est super d'être tous ensemble. Les enfants, on se dit, ok, bon bah, au moins, on le fait pour eux. Des fois, quand on commence à être complètement démotivé ou on a quelqu'un qui passe, qui dit alors ça va et tout, tu y arrives, je dis ouais ça va et toi, et là on se remotive. Donc c'est super d'être ensemble et c'est ça le pouvoir, la force, c'est d'être tous ensemble.
Once the plastic is identified, it is sent to Oahu to be recycled or transformed into electricity in a center. But recycling is not the solution. Beach cleanup must start at the supermarket by refusing to purchase products whose production process harms the environment, fish included. Love the Sea is very active in raising awareness around the issue and promoting this message, inviting locals to do their own cleanups. For this event, they set up camp on one of the most accessible beaches on the island, gathering volunteers from all walks of life. Located between shopping malls and the container port, this beach is at the crossroads of our contradictions, expecting a preserved environment without considering our impact.
So, why did you start Love the Sea?
Well, you know, when I was your age, and I used to be on the beaches all the time, I didn't see plastic. And then I started to take a look and I saw so much plastic, little bits of microplastics, and it really made me sad. So I decided I wanted to give back to a place that had given so much joy to me by cleaning it. Actually, the barrel your dad and I pulled off a beach. So I just repurposed the barrel, drilled holes in the side of it, and I'm hoping that if we scoop sand with plastics in the sand will go through the holes and the plastics will stay in the barrel. Yeah.
Regarde tout le plastique que j'ai eu. Bah moi je crois si on arrête d'acheter tout ce plastique, ça terminerait pas sur la plage et on aura moins de travail.
Instead of rallying all this energy and these resources to clean up the excess of our current society, couldn't we instead completely reassess how we relate to consumerism? So moderation aligns with satisfaction. Preserving the environment with every purchase we make is our consumer's superpower. By doing so, we find our true role, the one of nature's guardians.